Welcome to Big Blend Radio, where we celebrate variety and how it adds spice to quality of life. Welcome, everyone. It is March 23rd here on Big Blend Radio's Big Daily Blend Show with Joey Stuckey. We love our fourth Sundays with Joey, and today we are going to be talking about songs of the weather because this is today is World Meteorological Day, and I can actually say it. How about that for a big word? And it celebrates the World Meteorological Organization, an international organization that collects data from all over the world to help us better understand the weather and its impact on our lives. It is also the National Tsunami Preparedness and Awareness Week. And so I think that really goes with it. And I actually got to interview the seismologist in this massive tsunami that, really went through Southeast Asia, and he was on National Geographic in a show. So, I will put that in the episode links for you guys to listen to that interview, because I don't ever want to be in a tsunami. I don't mind catching a big wave and pretending that I can surf and hoping I can hang on, stand on, whatever. But a tsunami, I do not want that in my future. And that is one thing we haven't done. Nancy and I have done hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, flash floods, monsoons, blizzards, ice, not quite an avalanche, but almost in an avalanche. We've been through a lot. Joey is in Georgia, and all I know is Georgia gets some good weather. So, hey, Joey, what's your weather like today? Right now, as we record, we're only like a day or two away from this airing. It's sunny in North Carolina. So how are you in Georgia?
Yeah, it's real windy. And we've had, during the month of March, we've had some horrible weather here in the Southeast. I mean, with a lot of tornadoes. We had the storm front that just really hurt Mississippi and Alabama come through, I guess a week ago. And of course, when you're staying up all night, and they're telling you, have your safe place ready and have food and water ready and all this stuff. And you're staying up all night watching the weather. But we have been so blessed and so fortunate that we came out unscathed. But right now it's sunny and windy.
I know that one day, I think we even postponed our recording because where we were going to get them. And you're like, we just went through them.
Yeah, we just, exactly.
Like, okay.
Yeah. It was really, it was very alarming. And, I really believe in the National Weather Service and NOAA, and I just hats off to those guys, because they're the reason that we're able to get all these advanced warning and to understand what the weather's doing, and where the live tracking of the tornadoes and all that stuff is just incredible. And it's such a boon to have that available, because it saves lives. It's amazing.
I don't know how long we're going to have that for.
Yeah, I know.
Because a lot of our federal things are being kind of cut away. So I don't know what's going to happen with it. And when you look at Hurricane Helene, they just, put out the figures for that.
Yeah.
I mean, billions of dollars. It's, lives lost. That's number one. The most important thing is, what about lives and the actual land itself? It's still an upward recovery. Nancy and I have been through pretty much everywhere that Hurricane Helene has hit.
Yeah.
Recently. And it's incredibly eye-opening, heartbreaking, yet at the same time, you're like amazed at how things are progressing, but you like, people, they need help, right? So I just want to keep saying it's not over. The wildfire situation for those rebuilding in LA and may not being able to rebuild, all these big disasters take so long to get the recovery, but you see a lot of beauty in people helping each other and everything. But I really hope our weather and our post office stay, because they go hand in hand.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much good it does, but I chose to exercise my voice, and I've been writing letters to my representatives and just saying that we really need to make sure that, all these institutions remain funded for the weather and stuff like that. I was thinking about it. And
national parks?
Yeah, national parks. You've got CDC, all these different things that are absolutely mission critical. And, the thing is, when our government does, well, you don't notice it. And that's how you know when the government's working well. But like we've come to rely on all these things like the National Weather Service and stuff, and never even think about it because it works so well. So anyway, but yeah, I did write some letters and hopefully that will do some good. But it's you got to do something because man, can you imagine these hurricanes and these things like that without the forewarning that we've been provided? It would be lives lost would be like I'm sure it would be way higher.
Well, the tsunami, that documentary and speaking to the seismologist, I was like, to me, like I felt like I was talking to royalty when I interviewed him. And, I just, I watching it and them actually, he was there because the systems weren't set up. It was back in the day. We didn't have as many hurricanes we didn't have as many tsunamis. So this global system wasn't there. You got to think pre Google and stuff. We kind of had Google, but it wasn't as what we have.
No, yeah.
And, a lot of Americans perished in that, tsunami. And, what they show on this documentary, it's a race against time was how he and, the scientists got together to try, it was in 2004, it was the Indian Ocean tsunami. It took 225,000 lives. And that is with them coming up with alerting people around the world.
Yeah.
So he knew, it's going to go here, it's going to go there. And so just our technology in 2004, we were still playing Y2K,
Oh man,
so
technology 2004. I remember that year and, and our cell phones and stuff like that. And yeah. It was just like, it was way less sophisticated than what we have now.
Yeah. And he was just amazing. I felt really lucky to interview him, to find out, but what he did, he really made it so that there was this connection and he started calling all the news services and letting the news service. And one guy from CNN in India somewhere was going on a vacation. He started to see it and he started calling his people going, heck, something's wrong. And people didn't understand it was a tsunami coming. There was no warning system.
Yeah.
And it was like a black wave because it was so dark and it's carrying all this debris and houses and cars. And when you watch this, it is absolutely mind blowing how people are trying to hold on to trees, ending up on a different side of an island somewhere. And I think about what they did to save so many more thousands and hundreds of thousands of lives.
Yeah.
So, it was just really, when you just think, his name is Barry Hirschhorn, everyone. It's called Tsunami Race Against Time, and it's out through National Geographic, Disney, Hulu, all that. You should see it on those. But he really had to move so fast and collect the data and try and warn people. And at that point, he was racing to get all these countries to know that this tsunami is going to hit them. And then, when you're telling someone, you need to tell them and get off the phone and go to the next. And people are like, what do you mean? What's it going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so many people did rally in the weather stations. And he's out in Hawaii. And I was talking to him. He's like, ooh, there's another hurricane. Not a hurricane, a volcano happening. And he's like, oh, this and this is happening. I'm like, what? But he was basically saying, the importance of all these systems, like in hurricanes, when you hear a hurricane's coming and all these, weather guys, and we start following them on social media in hurricanes and everybody's making graphs and going, look at this, look at that. If we didn't have that, man, we're sitting ducks, know, and NOAA is everything. In fact, I know when there's tornadoes, like when we've been in Arkansas, you watch NOAA more than you do anything else because you can see it. That is what, the government is getting. That is the satellite imagery directly.
Yeah. And they have storm chasers and they have all kind of stuff.
Dude. Yeah. What was that movie with the Twister? Yeah. Remember that movie?
I did remember. I never watched it, but I've heard of it.
There was a flying cow.
Yeah. I remember that's the iconic scene. of the flying cow. Yeah, I have enough problems without worrying about twisters, so I decided to steer clear of that movie.
Well, today we're going to talk about music and weather, and weather is such a metaphor for life.
Oh, it is. And interestingly, the thing that was, I guess, I shouldn't have surprised me, but kind of did when we were putting together the playlist of music. A lot of songs about rain. A lot of songs about rain. Like most weather songs were like about rain. So that's and I guess that makes sense because when it's raining, it'd be kind of a nice metaphor for crying or that kind of thing. So a lot of rain songs. Even I have written a song about rain. So
did Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could blame it on the rain.
Blame it on the rain.
Oh boy! So we've got your song.
That's a good song.
I liked Milli Vanilli.
I did too.
I know it wasn't them, but I mean, it was still good.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me, I mean, I guess the thing for me is, I don't know why he didn't just come out and say, "Yeah, this is a studio guys." I mean, I don't know why it couldn't have just been a produced project. But I guess if they wanted to tour, and I guess it kind of blew up on them. But that's a very sad situation. But I don't think it was worth ruining people's lives over. I mean, it wasn't them, but they hired two. I guess my understanding is they hired two really sort of attractive guys that went out and lip sync and danced around and entertained the crowd. And I think there's something to that. There's a lot of people who lip sync these days, and of course in the Super Bowl, it's mostly lip sync. So I think as long as you know that it's that they're lip syncing and you go for the entertainment value of the spectacle, then I have no problem with it. I have to say that's not something I would ever personally do. I just go out and do my thing, and it is what it is. I mean, when I was in LA, I had a terrible flu, and I went and performed anyway. And I told the audience, like, "Hey, I'm really sick, so I promise you nothing, but I'm going to do my best." And I did fine. I was able to sing and do all my stuff, and I just, so that's the thing. But yeah, I liked Milli Vanilli. I thought it was good stuff. That was when I was a youngster. That Milli Vanilli came out when I was a kid. But I thought those Blame It on the Rain. What was the other song they had? They had two big hits. I
remember the other one.
I can't think of the other one right now. Blame It on the Rain was the big one.
Yeah,
they had another one too. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure somebody out there in podcast land knows.
Yeah, didn't they go to the Grammys too?
I don't remember.
I think they did a Grammys thing, but yeah, one person and we've got your song, Raining by Joey Stuckey in the playlist. So everyone, the link is in the episode notes, but like songs for life come from the weather. I mean, love, death, everything.
Yeah.
And Bob Dylan did good with the weather.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You got to think about, Shelter from the Storm, Buckets of Rain, and, Dylan's Hard Rain. And then Ryan Bingham wrote a counter song to that, Mr. Dylan's Hard Rain. And it was Fair Warning, that song,
And
so it's like, go ahead.
I was going to say, I had to include Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Yeah.
A little Scorpions.
Yes.
So had to do that.
And you've got the other one that they did.
Winds of Change.
Yes.
Winds of Change.
I love that song.
Some of the best recorded whistling, I think, in any record.
Do you whistle?
Kinda. I can whistle pretty well, but I have a very limited range. So I'm not a professional puckaloist, but I've been told that I whistle pretty well. But I enjoy it, but I'm not, like I say, I'm not like a professional puckaloist that can go like big octaves and stuff like that.
Yeah, would you write a song that had a whistling part in there? There's no way.
I have one, but I didn't do it. I had a professional puckaloist or whistler come do it. It's called Whistle While You Work It. And it's an acid jazz.
Or twerk it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, hey, if you can do that kind of thing, I'm not good at that sort of stuff. But
if you can whistle and twerk at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way the whistle's coming from, but anyway, I gotta.
Somebody went there.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. So, but yeah, whistle while you work. It's got a whistle in it, and it was off my little jazz EP from 2009 called Oceanside. So it's I do have that's the one. Then I did have another client whistle on one of her tracks, Pam Bedwell. You know her from the show. We brought her on before on various programs, and she has a song called what is it called? I can't. It's got the word summer in the title, but anyway, it's I think it's like cool summer or no first summer love. That's what it's called, and she whistles in that. So I've recorded a handful of whistling tunes.
Yeah. Except for when you go live, see, because I'd get the giggles as soon as I would have to whistle. There's no way. I mean, you have to practice your whistle.
You do.
So just even doing that will make me laugh.
Yeah.
So there's no whistling for me.
Well, I don't do it live because your lip moisture controls a lot of.
You said moist too on
did.
The same show. My gosh,
we're doing it all today.
Wow.
God knows what will happen next. But your lip moisture really has a lot to do with like how well you can whistle. So like live, it's really hard to control. In the studio, you can drink a little water, stop, take it again.
You gotta wet your whistle.
You have to wet your whistle, and it's just so I don't whistle live, but I do whistle while I'm waiting around for people to do stuff.
Speaking of moisture, right? And
rain.
And rain and spring and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Spring has got the most interesting weather because it's windy one time, it's beautiful sunny day. You think, oh my God, this is the best.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it will snow on you or something, right? So spring is just one of those seasons that you just never know what's going to happen, which I like. And
of course, there's the pollen. There's
the pollen that gets up your nose, up your nose, like with the rubber hose. But going back to, so yesterday, our good friend Glenn Burrows was on the show.
Oh, I love Glenn.
From England.
Yeah, he's great.
And he was out twirling around Wales. And I emailed him like, dude, we got to get this show together. What do you want to talk about? We had a specific topic. And then I said, are you feeling the joys of spring? He goes, I am. I'm feeling the joys of spring. I'm like, do tell. But anyway, he's like, I'm in Anglesey. I can't speak anything to do with Wales, like Welsh or anything. No, It's not happening. He went to a place that had the second longest name in the world.
Wow.
And, like I can't.
Yeah.
It's like the entire alphabet.
Yeah.
Tripled, and all one big word, no breaks. And none of the letters look like they should be hanging out together, but they are they, them, if you want to put a label on it. But anyway, he's like, there's daffodils all about. I said, well, that's beautiful. And there's daffodils out here where we are now. And they're pretty resilient. And I said to him, well, your show date actually is it's International Daffodil Day. And so then turns out Wales, he's in Wales, and he wrote about where he was. And he went to a castle and a mansion that a guy had a closet for all of his different wooden legs, like each leg. One was for dancing. One was, no. I mean, this is pretty cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we're having a good talk. And then he goes, well, so the daffodil, and the daffodil, everyone, is a symbol of hope for cancer. And it's
I didn't know
Daffodil Day, which is yesterday, it's a fundraiser, and it's a way of creating awareness for support for those. I mean, who hasn't, and we're going to dedicate this show to a friend of ours, Joey and Nancy and I, who did just pass away from cancer. And so who doesn't know anybody who, hasn't been touched by cancer? And so the daffodil is something that goes around the world. That is an international symbol of raising awareness for cancer research, cancer, fundraising for those who need it, and all of that. So I think that's pretty cool. So it was all these little synchronicities But then he's doing this research on daffodils, and Nancy's got all this stuff now. I know she'll end up sharing it somewhere, but if you look at the daffodil's name in Wales, since it's their national flower, it translates to, go figure, Pete's leek.
Huh.
Which made me get the giggles.
Huh.
I mean, so because leeks in Wales are a big deal. So anyway, but Peter's leek. What do you think about Peter's got a leek? I think that's funny. And he didn't think it was funny, but I did.
Well, I mean,
Peter's leek.
Glenn's a little more steady than we are.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I think he knows, but he's just like, move on, Lisa. I know you're in that mode. We're moving on. He's like, we're going to keep it polite for our audience. But anyway, so there's some daffodil information for, when we talk about weather, it affects what grows. Sure. And the daffodil manages to hang out through snow and ice and sunshine, and it's a resilient little bulb.
I did not know that. So it can handle snow.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. A little bit of snow. It'll come back. It's a bulb. Bulbs are awesome because you can plant them. They can go through things and they come up and they'll come back up. It's like once you plant them, and when we lived in Julian in the mountains in San Diego, they have a daffodil club and they have daffodil days at the end of March. It's probably happening now. And everybody compares their daffodils. I don't know if there's a Pete's leek division.
There probably is. At least in Wales.
Anyway, and by the way, everyone, the bulbs are dangerous for your dogs, so don't let your dogs eat the bulbs. Huh. They're diggers in the backyard. Yeah, if your dogs dig in the backyard, don't plant where they can dig up a bulb because that will make them sick. But yeah, no, we had over 1 million planted because they duplicate. They have babies underground.
Yeah.
And then they pop out again, and you can split them. So, you've got bulbs, you've got corms, which are like little, like fat wormy bulbs. There's bulbs that are like bulbs. And then there's the wormy ones, the corms. Anyway, It's a whole gardening thing. But anyway, we're going to talk about more music and the weather because I think that's how the metaphor for life, whether it's happy sunny days, I'm walking on sunshine, Katrina and the waves, right? To, Stormy Monday that the Allman Brothers famously covered,
that's great. So many people have done that song. It's so good.
But we want to dedicate this show to William James, Billy, we call him Billy. Yeah. Of Glass Onion. He's an amazing publicist that connected us with Joey and Johnny Schaefer. You guys have all connected, but we have been working with him for almost a decade, and I didn't realize it was that long. And I wanted to make a playlist of all the interviews, and then I realized I'd be doing that for days because when I did the math on it, it's at least 500 to 700 people and then that made me realize how much we do on music. Isn't that weird? I wanted to dedicate this issue of our Big Blend Express magazine to him. And you know what? There's no real music in it, like a music feature that we always do. Isn't it weird? It's kind of like the day the music died that Billy passed away. And it's really hard to just, it's sad. It's just so damn sad. I'm sad about it. How are you feeling? Because you've been working with him for a long time too, right?
I've known him. Yeah, I've known him since like 2003. And
wow.
We worked together many times. And he was always very gracious with his time and his talent and his knowledge. And he always did more than I asked him for and more than I paid him for. I mean, like he always did more than what I asked of him. And he really helped me and was always I always felt like he was on my side. He was in my corner. And that's really exciting. And, but he was just one of my favorite stories. I'm a huge fan of King Crimson, the band, and in particular, Adrian Belew. And I was in Indiana on tour doing some different things up at Sweetwater, which Sweetwater has sells musical equipment, but they also have a recording studio and they also have a performance venue and all this stuff. So I get up there once every 2 years or so. I end up there doing something with Sweetwater. And Sweetwater has always been a sponsor of Joey Stuckey Alive Day since the first one, which is really rare. They don't really they don't really sponsor too much. And of course I spend I spend a lot of money with them because they've outfitted probably 80% of my studio. So over the years. But anyway, the point is I was up there and all of a sudden Jennifer said, Adrian Belew is going to be performing tomorrow night at one of the Sweetwater venues. And it's an outdoor venue that probably holds, I don't know, about 1,000 people, something like that. And I said, "Oh man, we got to go." And then I realized, I said, "Wait a minute. I think that Billy does Adrian Belew's PR."
Mm-hmm.
And so I called him and I said, "Hey, don't you work with Adrian Belew?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, he's performing here." I didn't tell him that yet. I said, "Well, is there any way for me to get to meet him, like get backstage and meet him at a show he's doing here in Indiana?" And he said, "Maybe. When's the show?" I said, "Tomorrow night." He's like, "Man, way to give me a lot of warning." I was like, "Well," I said, "I just found out about it. I'm really sorry, but I just found out about it." I said, "But I just would so love to shake his hand and tell him how much he means to me as a musician and all this stuff." And Billy said, "Well, let me see what I can do." And a couple hours later, I had 2 backstage passes, got to meet him, shake his hand. He signed some stuff for me. And it was an incredible experience. I mean, so, and that was Billy just helping out a friend, a longtime client, for no reason except he's that kind of guy. And so, I mean, it just, like I said, and he would always give me the benefit of his advice. And I miss him, and he's always been a sponsor of Joey Stuckey Alive Day as well. And, since the first one. So, a tragic loss to so many people. And, he knew so much about the music business, knew so many people, and was just I thought he was one of the best press. I've never let anybody else do a press release for me except him.
Well, I was thinking about that because you, Nancy, and I had that conversation when we came to see you last year.
Yeah.
At your studio, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, I was writing this whole thing in my head for this magazine, and I'm like, there's no music, and it feels like the day the music died. It does.
Yeah.
Like, it's like weird.
Yeah.
It's like everything, and I knew you and I both knew, like we were checking up on him during the hurricane when he did get flooded, and he was talking about treatments. And of course, all those things slowed down, right?
Oh, yeah.
When the hurricanes, people had no electricity. How are you going to do, medical treatments and stuff? But, he, I remember like his writing, I was thinking about this, like how this came to me, like his press releases would literally sing their way to the top of your email list.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, he knew how to put names in there to get people's attention, but he had this integrity of he had like to the band, the musician, songwriter, the people that create it. But like he had like a genuine integrity for music itself. Like it was good. And I don't think anybody that's come our way is bad. Like it wasn't, like, ew, that sucks. You know what I mean? I can't interview it. Like and to me, there's no real bad music in that unless you don't practice your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then you're not going to get to the level of getting Billy, right? It's just, it's not going to work with you. And so I always could trust his, hey, Lise, what about this? And he would always I'd get all his press releases, but he always knew who was the right person for our show. I think he knew because we always get woo woo or silly, one of the two, and they had to be able to handle it. We've had a few, but when I look between 500 to 700 interviews that we've done in 10 years, I think that's a lot.
That's a
And
lot.
not to mention all the people he's connected with that we do work with as well now because of him. So, I mean, it's about 1,000. It's crazy. But people from, you know, like Steve Hunter, the guitarist for Alice Cooper, Anthony Davis, who was for Genesis, the guitarist for Genesis. We've done, uh, what's his name from Vanilla Fudge, Carmen Eppes, a piece. I'm going to say it wrong and get in trouble. But all of those kind of people like came through working with him, and it just was like he knew who, but he really cared about music, that it was good, and he understood levitation. He wanted music to make people feel good. And he did that with his Aunt B, his band. Did you listen to his Aunt B music? His band?
I did not.
Oh man. Harmonies, joyous, kind of just made you feel good. And like I know he did work with Frank Zappa and John Anderson. It's a big deal for him.
Oh yeah.
And so I did get some songs together for him for our weather music. Number one for you is I Talk to the Wind from King Crimson.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm getting there. I had this Heart of the Sunrise from John Anderson. Yeah. And then, I'm sorry, but I have to do this because of Frank Zappa. Watch out where the Huskies go when don't you eat that yellow snow. It does tell you what's going on with the weather, right?
You got yellow snow in the weather. Yeah, I guess we can loosely associate that. Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, Anyway, Billy, it sucks that you're gone. It just sucks. That's all. I just
a kind and great person.
Genuine. That's the word.
Yeah.
Genuine person who just, and he just no drama. Like if there was drama, he's just like, I ain't doing drama.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Life's too short.
So, and he brought us all together.
Yeah. And what a blessing that's been.
Yeah, Johnny, you got to meet Johnny. Isn't that cool? We haven't met Johnny Schaefer yet, but we will. But so many people that on multiple shows, it's like, yeah. So, but he was an amazing writer.
Oh, fantastic! And I've had tons of people say to me, "Hey, I've hired different publicists for different things." When I was younger, what I wanted was one person that I could communicate with that would handle all my publicity needs and all my PR needs. And I just thought that'd be great. But what I realized was later on, each person has their strengths and hire them for their strengths. And so I had tons and tons of people try to talk me into letting them write my press releases. Like, I got the best. I'm not gonna change from the best. I've got the best.
Well, I think because he wrote music.
Yeah.
He knew, like, you could use a little metaphor here and there, but I don't know, man. He was good, and he knew how to just and not. It's annoying on the other side of the desk where we are. Is just when you just start putting. Yes, you got to give people credibility of who they work with, so that's important. We all know that's a good part of a press release.
Sure.
But we don't want filler. Don't fluff up stuff that isn't there. And if it's a new artist, because he gave new artists chances all the time. And he would just let it be as short as it is. That's the story.
Yep.
It's short. Go listen. And this is what it sounds like if you need that help, but he didn't, sit and give you some lame bunch of stuff that you didn't need to waste your time on.
Yeah.
Rather just go listen. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think he also understood that, the artist or the band or whatever, had to have something that he could work with. And while he would give anyone a chance, if they didn't have something, there was no point. He also felt like he wasn't going to take their money under false pretenses. Like, hey, I can't, I'm going to charge you a big fee and then, maybe you'll get something, maybe you won't. I always had success from his press releases. Always, always, always. And he can't control what other people do, but he always made sure that if he was working with somebody, they had something to offer, while at the same time not requiring them to be 30-year veterans. So I thought that was really nice.
I remember when he first connected us with you. He sent the press release, like, I get 20,000 press releases, like, every week. I'm not kidding. It's
no, I believe
it. It's like tons and tons. And that's the thing too. Like my email is full of Billy. And so like, I'm like, I have emails from people who've passed away and I don't get rid of them. I'm like,
I don't blame you.
Still there. I look at them and say, hi, and then I cry, you know. But I remember when he first emailed about you, and he said, hey, there's this guy, Joey, he said, I saw the press release come in. I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. I'll check him out. I always checked everything he did because if he only handles the best, that's what I'm saying. He's like the best of the best and the best in musicality. In other words, the person is not, there's no half-assery, if that's a word. They're good at what they do. They are professional. They're, and we've had a couple bumps, like I said, but when I look at how many people, like you can't even, that's just the law of, nature, and people are human. But he said to me, he always follows up like, hey, Lise, can we do so-and-so? Hey, Lise, emails. It's always, hey, Lise. And he goes, hey, Lise, you got to meet Joey. It was different. Like it was different because I always like, hey, Lise, what about so-and-so? Maybe a couple words or so accordingly. But for you got like another press release. Like he sold you. He was like, you've got to meet him. I just said, I can't speak more than like, can't say how much of a nice guy Joey is. He's an exceptional human being that you're going to really love getting to know and meet. I remember, I think we had a 30-minute time slot for your interview, and I think we went way over. I think that happened. But yeah,
I've slept since then, so I don't remember. But
I don't know. But he was.
But if you say it, I believe
what he was like. What a great musician, and then look what he's done. But he was like, you are going to like meeting him. You need to meet him.
That's
and look at it. Look at where we all are now together.
Yeah.
So I think that's really nice when people have that effect, and when we need to remember to tell people that before they die.
Absolutely.
A lesson from that.
You should always tell people how much you appreciate them and how much you love them, and that's always important.
Yeah, because look how, like when I was sitting there realizing how many people we've interviewed through him, I'm like, how many people he's affected in their lives and promoting their musical, not just on our stuff, but I'm going, holy cow, that dude was working it. He really did.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you have those kind of people in your life, like, be nice.
Yeah.
Be grateful and write a song for them, Joey.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think it's important. And that's the thing about music is, playing music for people makes them feel good. But the weather now, is sunshine always love, or can we have dark, stormy that would be love too?
Oh yeah, you can have stormy love.
You can have dirty love after the storm. Like,
absolutely, yeah, slushy love.
Slushy.
Yeah, after it snowed and now it's melted. You got slushy.
Yeah. Well, I know that's the thing. I don't know how we're going to do this playlist. It's going to have like 100 songs for sure.
There's a lot of songs about the weather. I mean, you were right. There's so many great ones that are metaphors. I mean, that's, there's, I mean, one of my favorites is, Weather with You, which is Crowded House. And,
that was my first thing when I thought about this idea. That was the first song that I thought of. And then you put it on the playlist. And last night I listened to the whole album while I was working.
Good. So good. I like the message of that song. Always, everywhere you go, always take the weather with you. Mm-hmm. And the way I interpret that, and having been a huge fan of Crowded House and a huge fan of Neil Finn in particular, I interpret that song to mean, always take the good weather with you wherever you go. Always take that sunshine and that do that. So that's how I interpret the song. I'm sure there's other ways to interpret it. So, but
yeah, because he also sings Four Seasons in One Day.
Yeah, did I put that on the list? I meant to.
Yeah, you did. It's at the top. Weather With You by Crowded House.
Yeah, we're actually. Yeah, no, I mean the Four Seasons. Did I put Four Seasons on there? Because I meant to put Four Seasons on there too. You'll have to.
I did. I went. I was. Hey, it got me through a night of work. So.
Well,
okay, Four Seasons.
I actually play that song live.
Do you really?
Yeah. That's the only Crowded House song I do currently. I might add some more over time.
I can hear your voice doing that.
Yeah,
too.
and it's I do a with any
Beatles.
cover. With any cover that I do, I take it a little bit somewhere different. But I have to, for example, there's a keyboard solo in the middle of the original that I obviously don't have, so we cut that out. And then I double the chorus at the end, which is helpful. And on the last chorus, I change the melody a little bit. I go up kind of high and come back down. But I love that song. It's so much fun. And the illusion is so obvious. Like if you have 4 seasons in one day, that's hard to handle.
Yeah, but they've got that little Baroque sound in there.
Yeah,
and it does. It's very Beatles, like
Beatles. Oh, big time. Yeah, very George Martin.
Yeah, I really, the Crowded House was huge for me when I was growing up.
Oh man, Crowded House, fantastic.
And David Byrne and Talking Heads.
Talking Heads.
Yeah. Well, they're, but then I still thought the Clash was like a big deal. I really loved the Clash. There's
a lot. Sometimes with the Clash, I have a little bit of difficulty enjoying some of it because sometimes the vocals are not really all the way there.
It's not supposed to be. Not that.
I know it, but
it's like the Violent Femmes.
I know, but like, so sometimes like. I'll be like, okay, but there's also a lot of stuff where the vocals are there. So like one of my favorite, and this is probably a cliche, but on the Clash, I just love "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" I mean, that's a great little tune.
Mm-hmm.
"Rock the Casbah," of course. But there's a lot
Jimmy
of stuff.
Jazz.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have at least 2 Clash albums in my collection. I think I may have 3. I may have a live album. But anyway, yeah. So my CD collection is ridiculous. It must be in the 5,000 or 6,000 range. And that's just the discs, the CDs. I have the 96K Blu-rays of some audio. I have so I have some vinyl.
No way.
Not a lot, but I have some. And then I have there's certain records that's like I have to have the vinyl of that because it'll sound so cool. Mostly jazz stuff on the vinyl, but and then of course I have my movie collection, which is about the same. It's funny because everybody thinks the blind guy doesn't watch movies, but I don't see the movies, but I certainly enjoy them. The sex scenes and the car chases are kind of boring, but otherwise I enjoy them. Because those are visual.
You can still hear them.
yeah, you can, but you have to be careful who you watch those with.
But see, now that's the other thing. That's the other thing, right? So, like, the weather is really all these, metaphors for what's going on in the story, right? And
right.
The same thing with cars, revving the engine, fireworks, all that kind of stuff.
A throaty purr. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I want to bring up Jimi Hendrix. Because, when the wind cries Mary.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. That is still one of the best songs ever written.
Yeah, it's a great
on this planet. To me, it is.
And I thought about Purple Haze because you can have a Purple Haze weather event. But I didn't put it in the list because, like, well, maybe I was trying to stretch things too far. But yeah, Wind Cries Mary is great. And just the gravitas of how he plays guitar on that, and the way he even sings it is really fantastic.
But he lays back like the
he does. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I mean, and then Stevie Ray Vaughan doing it too, right? It was like
and then there was Jamie,
dynamics.
I'm I'm going to get this wrong, but is it? I can't remember. I think it's Jamie Cullum or Jamie McCullum. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
But he's and he did a version of that, which is amazing.
Bill Withers.
Oh yeah.
Listen, Bill Withers, I think has got like, I don't know. I like when he died, I was very sad.
Sure.
Because I think he's got one of the most, amazing voices.
Yeah.
Silken, smooth. He doesn't have to be loud. Like, listen, I love Janis Joplin and stuff, and I'm a loud singer. I'm loud, but there's a thing about dynamics and just listening and there's singers like him where you lean in as a listener. You lean in.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
he does it. And it's like, ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Yeah.
Like, and then he had Lovely Day.
Yeah.
And when you hear that, it's like, I almost feel like we should all turn that song on when we wake up in the morning. Lovely Day. Because we wake up like, I don't want to get up.
Yeah.
Or, depending.
I look forward to getting up.
Me too.
And taking the first part of my day when it's going according to plan, which doesn't always happen, but when it's going according to plan, the first part of my day is I wake up, and get the cat fed. Because he's always hungry.
Otherwise you're in trouble.
Yeah, he's always hungry. He thinks anytime that I'm up moving about is food time. And so I go and get the cat his food. He talks to me the whole way down. We live on a 2-story house, so the whole way down the stairs he's chatting with me, meowing. And he has about 6 or 7 different kinds of meows. He runs through all the different meows, and we go down just very quietly. And then I go and make my first cup of coffee, and then I usually, if things are going according to plan, something doesn't have to be done, out of the ordinary. Then I usually sit down and talk to my mom for half an hour, and it's just a nice, quiet part of the day. And I really love that first part of the day. And what's so cool is the first part of the day is so cool because you don't know what's going to happen. You got the whole day to look forward to. You got all these things you can do.
You can set it up.
Yeah, it's fun.
I have a hard time because I love every part of the day.
I do too.
And night, every single one. And
the only thing I don't like to sleep. I feel like sleep is a waste of my time.
No, last night it was like 4 a.m. and I'm like, you need to go to bed because now you're starting to make typos that are very interesting.
And hallucinate.
And then Nancy caught one that was really funny.
Yeah.
And I realized when she caught it that I left it there on purpose. That's how. No, because it was such a funny one that I thought, let's just leave it in there and see what happens.
Yeah.
But of course Nancy caught it because it came out as a naughty word, but it wasn't that naughty. But
no,
anyway,
it wasn't. I'd say PG-13.
But wouldn't it be fun to leave it in there, right? I know one
I would
magazine,
leave it in there and then blame it on being blind.
That's what yeah. You see, I'll just say Joey was the editor.
Just say I proofread it.
Oh, that's what we'll do. I'll just say that Joey was here. He's the editor.
Right.
I'm going to make you the head of chief of editing from now on.
That's great because then you can blame everything on me.
Yeah. All right. And then you can write a song about it.
I will.
Blame it on the rain.
I'm sure I will write a song about it.
Blame it on Joey. But yeah, like last night it was like 4 and it was like, well, what's the point? It's going to be sunrise soon. And I love sunrise. And normally I would if I go to bed, 4 is my good time to wake up because if living in the desert, the sun would come at 4, start to rise. And I love to watch the sunrise. I love to watch the sunset. I like to see when the moon's coming up. I want to see the star. I want to see all of it.
Yeah. Totally.
And I want to hear the birds at their different calls. They start and then there's a
birds.
Time of day where crows do and all hearing the birds. And I'm really kind of I'll talk to animals like Nancy and I a little bit, but I really just want to be left alone in my own little bubble, in my own little head, doing my own little thing. Because and also early in the morning, man, you're so on top of stuff. You're so clear. Your brain has got a little rest, maybe. You get stuff done before people get up. I like to be awake before anybody,
I know.
I like to go to
I like
towns
that
before they
first little
wake up.
quiet moment. Yeah, that first little quiet moment, and then it can get crazy all day long. But give me my first 30 minutes to be a little quiet.
My favorite thing on the tour with us driving around and doing all this, these park documentary things. And by the way, that's going to be interesting over the next. Oh, did I say that? Over the next few years, our parks, at least some of the park rangers that were probationary are allowed back because they didn't do anything to be fired.
Right.
So our parks are already understaffed and underfunded.
Yes.
I have to say this because that's why we ended up on tour, was understanding this economic value. Now, of course, we care about nature, the land, and the history. And when you don't have enough park rangers, including, now I know they were like, oh, if they're police and the park police, you can stay. But what happens is they will end up cleaning the bathrooms because they care. They will end up doing a little bit of everything. And we have interviewed so many park rangers on our tour, which started in 2012. And we were interviewing them before that too. And we've lived in different countries, gone to national parks and state parks all over. Right now, we're probably sitting at around 2,500 parks that we've been to in this country, actually documented, photographed, interviewed, all kinds of stuff. And I will say this, we're gonna need to, as travelers and citizens of the land, or, be stewards of the land. We really need to. And, the less park rangers we have, which is really sad, it hurts the local economies. People will start complaining. I mean, people actually do Yelp reviews on national parks. Like, really? Huh. No, it's ridiculous. There's whole websites dedicated to like making fun of them, making fun of the people, doing a Yelp. I saw a woman, we were going to a park, and I think it was Georgia or South Carolina. I was looking them up online, part of why we're doing what we do. And, we went to a park and there were gators, and we're like, oh, we're going, we love alligators, right? And we're going to film them and see them. And a lady complained that there were alligators in the park and that she saw a snake. You need to take these out of the park. And I couldn't believe this. I was like, what? Well, I really want to go now. There's snakes, there's gators. I'm in, that's what a park in. What? So we need to, I don't know. What do you want? AstroTurf? Like, but people are like, in COVID times, we went through all the parks that, the rangers, everybody wasn't there, but, the bathrooms got trashed. It's going to be a little messy this summer, and a lot messier so I'm just saying, please, everyone, no matter what your political belief is, take your trash home. Be kind to the land. Understand that the parks are understaffed. They always have been. Yet, if the parks were actually a company, they've done all these studies, and this comes from Forbes, right? They quantify that the parks bring so much more money, are actually more fiscally richer than Google. Like how much money the parks generate for communities across America, that it's actually the park system, the National Park Service, is bigger than Google financially.
Interesting.
Yet we keep cutting their, we're not supposed to be on a rants and rave show, but now we are, aren't we? There's some good rants and raves today. Well, but what, if you don't like something, you get to do something about it.
Yeah, that's right. And the truth's the truth. And I mean, the national parks are a treasure. I mean, and I, for me, I like nature, and I like to be out in it, but I can't go on my own. Obviously, I got to see where I'm going. And
no, you ain't going to go to the gator places like that Okefenokee swamp up by you.
Yeah. That's not.
I'll take you.
That's yeah. If you could, I would go with you. I would go with you, but I wouldn't go just on my own, because I don't want to be chomped in half. And I just know that I'm sure I would just step on a gator and they would eat me. They'd eat me.
Well, they know if you, they will know.
Yeah.
If you're not aware of them, and Yeah,
They'll take advantage of you.
They will take advantage.
Yeah,
because animals know that's what they do.
Yeah. That's their nature. So yeah. But I do love our national parks, especially some of the ones that are beach oriented. Those are a lot of fun.
Well, the ocean. There's Padre National Seashores, Cape Canaveral Seashore.
Yeah.
All these wonderful coastal areas, which is so important to keep pristine for the coral reefs and everything too.
And what's the park in Chattanooga? There's a park in Chattanooga that we went to. There was a Civil War park.
There is a Civil War park there.
I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's on top of the mountain, and it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just such a nice walk. They had such nice paths to walk, and they had a nice little gift shop that had all kind of
Chickamauga and Chattanooga National Military Park.
That's it, and it was fantastic.
Chickamauga.
Yeah, Chickamauga. That's how the natives say it. Who knows what it really means, or who I don't know how you really say it, but the people that live there call it Chickamauga. But I don't. Or at least my mom does. She was from there, but anyway, it was absolutely amazing. And the air was so clean, and it was nice and cool, and boy, we had a really great time just walking around that little park.
I love this that we're talking about, the parks and everything because, talk about weather. The parks are hit by the weather too, and wildfires like Sequoia National Park. It's taken years to recover from these really intense wildfires. We're talking wildfires that burn hotter than normal, and it's not about them not doing fire management because they do.
Sure.
So it's a big deal, honestly, when you think about it. Not having all these people. We're talking about weather, and like I have a park ranger friend who's a firefighter. She's a public service information officer. She's a forest ranger now, but she's done every role like that she can in the service because she cares that deeply. And
That's
she
awesome.
Wants to have the biggest, knowledge. And her husband, is on the police side of it. He's been shot like right in the head face area.
Wow,
and was resilient. And don't forget, like our White House is a national park, by the way. All of DC parks are all part of the National Park Service, and things happen, and he's up there, but he keeps going back at it, and was resilient for our parks. And when we don't have all the staff, that's where we start seeing people growing pot in the parks and stuff like that. Things happen. Yeah. Bad things do happen because human beings do things. And when they know there's not as many people around, that's what really scares me about our parks, our historic sites. Already what we're seeing now are a lot of the visitor centers having limited hours, which means the education isn't going out. And sometimes a visitor centers where actually people may not be able to go on a big hike, or they'll go on a little small nature trail or something. But in the visitor center, you really get the knowledge, and that also prepares you for when you go out in the elements. Right? So anyway, this is definitely going on our rants, raves, and rock and roll show. The park thing is bad. And so what we can do is what Joey said at the beginning of the show. You can write letters, you can call your representatives, and we can be good stewards in our own communities and land, no matter what is going on that you like or don't like. You can make a stand by doing your own action in your own backyard, in your own home. You can vote with your dollar. You can resist to things absolutely. You don't like. And, and that's how they know. Things have been backtracked already, right? And so some things are positive. I'm not here to go everybody's, who's right or wrong, or to fight about parties. I'm not here to do that. Nancy and I are very independent. And so we're not anti this or anti that, but we are anti not having our parks have their people. And I think some of those federal agencies, like our education department, things like that are so important. So, if you don't like it, and, you can make your voice heard. And if enough people do, then a change is made. If and nobody does, then it stays the way it is. And then if you didn't do anything to say no, you shouldn't complain anymore.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. That's why we've been writing letters, and we've been giving a little bit of money to some different organizations, and we've been like I said, talking to people and just saying, hey, if you feel concerned about this like we do, might I encourage you to write a letter, or might I encourage you to go visit your representative, or whatever feels right for you, but just make your voice heard.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. See, and we would like our weather people to have their offices back.
Absolutely.
Because
we
as
need
hurricanes and tornadoes, that's not, I actually think it's one of the most important things out of everything.
Yeah, me too.
We're seeing tornadoes. What just happened? Oh my God, one town just got double whammied on a tornado, like one after the other in Mississippi. Come on, man. And it's killing people. And it's all this extra money. And if you have all these systems in place where we have warnings, so I'm glad we're talking about the weather, music, and we'll put a kick butt music playlist for you to gather up on Spotify. So that link is there.
We've got some good stuff.
I know we've gone all over the place on this show today, but I want to make a big stand for our weather people.
Me too.
We have a voice. We get to use it. I want our weather people. We always laugh about weathermen, right? Too, and weather women. Oh yeah, what do they know? They're only reporting what they can best see. It's just like science always changes. Don't kill the scientists because they found something new. My God, how dare they find something new? My God. Uh-oh. Don't get me started. But honestly, our weather is not something to fool around with. It is not. It is not. I've been in those situations. It's not.
Well,
it's
we
scary.
have, I don't know if they have it everywhere, but, we get alerts on our phone from, the weather service.
Joey, I get them from every place we've been to. Do you have any idea what my Facebook ad thing looks like? My Google ad thing looks like my phone. I get beep, beep, beep. Like I get, silver alerts. I get amber alerts from all over the country.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to go away because I'm connected with all those places.
Yeah, absolutely. And with your schedule, you never know when you'll be back. So.
Yeah. No, but it's, those alerts are huge. So I think
you have to have the right, you have to have NOAA and National Weather Service and people like that in place to make all those alerts possible. And that's why and that's why we were because they were saying that the tornadoes were probably going to hit where we were, and we were very concerned. And my mom's in a walker and has a hard time getting in an area of the house that's real secure for tornadoes. So we did the best we could, but just having that warning of, hey, you got 10 minutes to get to your safe place, that's real important.
It's everything.
Yeah.
It really is. And when if a hurricane's coming and you can follow and track along, here's the thing, like I said, Nancy and I have been through a lot of disasters, and we get out way beforehand.
Oh, gotcha.
As best we can. Don't wait until the last minute and you're all bottlenecked in traffic, can't get gas in a hurricane. Come on, man. Get out early. Your life is your life.
And if it turns out to be not as bad as you thought, then yay.
Yeah. Celebrate. Have a cocktail. It's all good.
Have a mocktail.
Hug your friends, your family, your loved ones. We're kind of, I know this show, we are doing a little bit of everything, but it's
a
life is precious.
That's right.
Today it's about life being precious, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
That's maybe the biggest moral of the story. And weather music will take you on every part of your life's journey, whether it's stormy, whether you're having a fight, whether you're having an electrifying moment. Ooh, Yeah, it's electric. Oh, now we get to do that now. I'm putting it in there. It's electric.
You should put it in there.
Yes, and Purple Rain is going in there too.
Of course.
Come on.
Gotta have Purple Rain.
We gotta do anything with Prince.
Absolutely. Prince is the man.
Do you know that he dated Kristen Chenoweth?
I did not know that.
I saw a reel about it, and she went to his house in shock. And some reel on Facebook. What's her name?
Now you got where I can't say Kristen Chenoweth.
You got it. You got it. Well, you did. I'm blaming it on Joey now. See?
That's fine.
Anyway, so she apparently went to his house. She drives her all excited, knocks on the door, like, I'm here to party like it's 1999, and I've got my red beret kind of thing, red beret.
Yeah.
And he just looked at her like, that's so dumb. Like, it is. Like, do you think he's never heard that? Would you say that to Prince if you met him? Like,
I would not.
No, me neither. But you know what she did? And he goes like, well, you want to come see my guitars? Like, you want to see my, if it was Peter, he would go, you want to see my leak? But apparently
who doesn't like a good leak showing? I mean,
no. I mean, Peter's got a leak and he's got a whole flower named after him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have to go back to that. Apparently he's got like a room of like he was like 200 or 2,000 guitars. I think if it's 200, it might as well be 2,000.
I've got
guitars.
70.
Oh yeah, I know you. It's like your studio. It's like, you want to go for a tour? I'm like, if I were, I'd be like, yeah. And she went and picked up. He's like, which one would you play out of this room? She picks up some white guitar, starts playing, and then realizes she's playing in front of Prince. Like that would,
I didn't know she played.
And I didn't know either. And she said that she's not good at it. I think, as songwriters, sometimes you sit and do your noodling.
Yeah.
Go get someone to help you. Just saying, from my personal experience. But anyway, she said something like, why is this like rubbed off in the back? What happened to the back of this? And he said, oh, Elvis's belt buckle. So it was Elvis's guitar that she was playing.
Wow.
That's a cool little story, right? Like, come on. That's pretty cool to play Elvis's guitar.
Heck yeah. I got to sing into a mic that Elvis sang into when I was at Sun Studio recording.
Did you lick it?
I did not. I did not want to get the funk. So I did not lick it, but I sang it.
You got the funk.
P-Funk. That's right. Parliament Funkadelic.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Those guys are so good.
Well, I'm putting Atomic Dog on the playlist. I don't know if we'll get there, but because it's also National Puppy Day,
Oh.
No, so since today is also National Puppy Day, we pet sit, so I have to give it a shout out.
Any justification, I suppose.
But puppies, I mean, puppy love, all that. It's another metaphor for our emotions.
That's
cute
true.
as a puppy, cute little puppy.
Yeah.
Like, so-and-so's got a waggy tail. Peter's got a leak,
You have been up too long.
I have. I warned you. I think I did warn you. Like, this is going to be one of those shows. But anyway, I did kind of behave. But everyone, check out the episode link in the show notes. And thank you for joining us and staying tuned to our silliness. But also, really, life is doing some weird things out there. And, everybody's on a different path on it. And let's try to not be mean. We don't need to have a storm within each other. We can maybe, if everyone's arguing in all these other places, maybe all of us can not argue and try to come up with our own thing that works together and look at compromise. Like, when a rainbow comes out, when it's sunny and rainy at the same time, we can create rainbows. What do you think about that?
I love it. I believe I put Rainbow Connection in my playlist, if I'm not mistaken.
You did.
Yeah, so I thought about that. But I think that's a great metaphor for
cooperation.
You
put Somewhere Over the Rainbow, too.
Yeah, that's true. The Izzy version.
Yeah, so rainbows are a good thing. And double rainbows are excellent if you get to see one. And it's March, everybody. It's still March. So the luck of the rainbow, you never know. A little leprechaun may pinch your butt.
You never know.
Yeah, or he might pinch Peter's leak. Anyway, all right. And that note,
obviously, time to go.
It's time to go. Joey, thank you so much. Always fun. Everyone, keep up with Joey at joeystuckey.com. He's also on Facebook, Twitter. So, Joey, anything coming up for you that people should know, or are we going to do a lot more on that next month? Next month is International Guitar Month. So we're going to be doing something cool with Joey on that. It's going to be gear or something, right?
Yeah, we'll do something fun. Yeah, right now, the two big things I'm working on at the moment are a complete overhaul of joeystuckey.com, and that should be live probably mid-April. But we're working on it now, and it's cool. Turning out to be a lot better. And, over time, your website gets cluttered because you have all these things you put on it, and then you realize you don't really need all that stuff. So it's just like decluttering your favorite junk drawer in your house. So it's like I'm doing that, and also coming up the first part of April, I will be delivering a keynote at the Breaking Barriers and Audio Conference. So I'm doing that. That's an AES conference. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're into music and sound and recording, Audio Engineering Society is a fantastic place to become educated, to get networked. And I'm doing the AES, like I said, one of the two keynotes at the AES Breaking Barriers conference, and that will be April 3rd through the 5th, and it's online, so you can literally, participate from wherever you are. And it's going to be a killer conference. It really, really is. And I think for all 3 days, it's like $150 or something. It's not very expensive. So it's going to be a great conference. So those are the big things coming up for me, besides just the normal workload of making records for people.
We love that.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So, but if you're into stuff like that, I cannot recommend enough the Audio Engineering Society. It's a great place to network. It's a really, really wonderful resource for education. So check it out if you have time.
Thank you, everyone. joeystuckey.com. Thank you for listening. Make those calls, write those letters. Just saying, unless you're happy with everything, then, don't. Be happy and enjoy the sunshine. No, I mean that. I mean that. Everyone's got a different belief. That's and we're not here to say someone's right or wrong, Right. So honestly, we're not like that here. I just think we should have a lot more conversations and unity and some sit downs. And I think going to as much music, performances as you can will help too, because, music is a uniter. And, I just would like that. Every time we wake up in the morning, think about it being a lovely day. Thank you, Bill Withers. And find out how we can unite instead of, cut things apart. I would like to see that personally. So I would like to do that as a champagne toast. I know it's Sunday, so I get to do it. I would like to see unity and coming together. Thank you to the Beatles. A little bit better. So that's what I have to say. So thank you, Joey. It's always such a pleasure. And next time, Nancy will be on here to mess with you.
Yay.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio. Keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.